The story of the San Francisco Giants is legendary. In my years as the official voice of the Giants, I've had the privilege to meet countless players and personalities whose passion for this team is only matched by their love for the game. Their stories are intertwined within the fabric of this team's history. They are forever Giants.
Three balls and two strikes. The overshift is on, and Bassett deals. And Bonds hits one high. It's a dig! It is out of here! 7:56.
Barry Bonds is widely considered to be one of the greatest baseball players of all time. He owns both the single-season and all-time home run records and was walked 2,558 times over the course of his 22-year career. The seven-time MVP grew up surrounded by baseball royalty. Barry's father played 14 years in the bigs, and his godfather is none other than Willie Mays. He followed in their footsteps by joining the San Francisco Giants in 1993, and there was nowhere in the world that Barry was more beloved. For the next 15 seasons, Barry astounded the baseball world with his talent, intuition, and penchant for the spotlight. Now, as a special advisor for the Giants, his incredible story has brought him back to the city he has always called his home. All right, before we get started, Barry, full disclosure to our viewers, we go way, 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 way back.
My 20s, early 20s.
Way, way back, since I was on the radio at 106 KMEL.
Right.
So I've known you since long before I got with the Giants.
So let's be friends like we really are, our people.
Okay? This is real talk right here.
For real.
Yeah. This is really full circle for me here today, and there's so much to cover, but so little time. So you've had such a remarkable career. Let's just start at the very beginning, growing up in the Bay Area in San Carlos. And growing up, obviously, everybody knows your late father was a fantastic major leaguer, your godfather, Willie Mays. So talk a little bit about being a little boy growing up with major leaguers in your family and in your life like that.
Well, when my dad's in, it was difficult because my dad's wanted you to be perfect. You know, my dad was always like, you would always never like do enough because I guess, you know, it's like when I have kids now too. So you have three kids. My dad was push, 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 push. I went to that direction, like it drove me.
Okay.
You know, some people would
go the other direction.
Go the other direction.
That's right.
My brother went this way, I went this way.
Okay.
My sister went this way.
Okay.
And that made me want it. Willie was the type, when I was a little boy, the huggy, lovey one out there going, you're great, I love you, I'm this. So I have both sides between those two.
Okay.
But I grew up in a great community, you know? That's the key. I don't think my dad and Willie, yes, they were a huge part of it, don't get it. But as a kid, you have your friends. So if you wanted me to go back, I was grateful for Willie and my dad, but I was even probably more grateful for my friends. I grew up in an athletic community. I mean, all we did was play basketball, football, baseball, and every single one of my friends, that's all we did.
And you excelled at all of those sports, but was baseball always your dream to follow in the footsteps of your dad and Willie?
Not at first.
Really?
No, it was just to ride my big wheel down the hill, skateboard. I played hockey. We used to ice skate every Friday. You know what I mean? At Belmont Ice Skating Ring.
Wow.
When I was a little kid. We used to cardboard slide down the hill, and I wanted to be like the #1 best cardboard slider. We used to rope swing off of cliffs, which crazy nowadays, but you had the downhill, and we used to tie ropes up on these trees and swing off and see how far we could swing and come back.
I do want to talk about your mom, and you particularly as a little leaguer, because your dad was always working. So you've always talked about the influence that your mom has had on you and her strength.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about Miss Pat for me, please.
Well, my mom was the backbone that kept everybody together. I mean, everybody knows my dad played baseball. You know, my dad had a little bit of a drinking problem at those times and stuff. But when my dad stopped playing and stuff, and when I started in high school, I'll never forget my mom. We used to You know how you are when you're a kid. My mom's the best mom on the planet. Because my mom's real.
Yeah.
You know?
She always kept it real. She still keeps it real.
My mom, so I remember, you know, as you get older, you're like, my mom used to have to drive us to school. We had to take the bus, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
we went to go Sarah, and I went to Cary School, which was right above Sarah.
Okay.
So my mom's driving, and sometimes you know your mom just ain't gonna get dressed and drop you off at school and stuff like that. So my mom, my mom's so funny. It's like, Mom, you gotta drop us off down the street, you know, because we want to walk into the class. You know, we don't want my mom dropping us at the front door.
It's not a good look.
And my mom's like, boy, all the things that I do for you. So my mom would walk us into class and say, my kids do not want me to bring them to school. We were just like, come on, Mom.
She called you
yeah,
out.
that's how she is, but she's our best friend.
Wow.
My mom's my best friend. My mom is like, you know, if it wasn't for my mom, I think a lot of things would have went downhill for us. That's how I look at it, based on my mom. My mom's inner strength, things probably would have went different, because my mom was the one who really was like, when I didn't want to play baseball, I didn't want to do the things my dad didn't, you know. I said, Mom, I don't want to play baseball. My mom took me to baseball practice, you know, when I was a little league. I didn't want to play when I was little.
Really?
My mom's like, drove me down there. She says, you don't want to know what's going to happen at home if you don't try, right? And I hit a home run my first at bat.
What a shock. What?
You know, I hit the ball.
Shocking.
I don't know if it's a home run. It's a bunch of errors because it went through all their legs. And I just ran around the bases. And I touched home plate. And from that time on, I told my mom I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I came at home plate. I was like, Mom, yes, I like it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what started my career. Because my mom didn't ever want us to not try.
Gotcha.
You know, she was the one that's like, you know, if you can't deal with adversity in life, if you can't deal with the struggles to improve, or whatever it is, you ain't gonna get better.
Something that I think we all admire about you is how you really, even at a young age, you didn't realize it, but you've always been a student of the game.
Yeah.
You've always paid attention, and you've learned, and you've watched, and you had natural ability. You were naturally gifted, but it was also important for you to study the game.
I'm an introverted, private person, you know, and everyone, you know, I've decided to just tell my story. I've always been like a loner type person, you know. My kids are helping me a lot to get out. Like, Dad, no one knows you. Everyone, they write all these things about you. They say everything about you, and you make zero comments. Right now, I have an IQ in baseball that is literally off the chart.
Off the charts.
And I know that. I'm not gonna hide behind it anymore. I have people and friends of mine that work on computers and stuff, and they're geniuses with these things.
Sure.
But they don't have social skills, and I was one of those people. I have an IQ for sports and baseball, and I can tell you 1,000 stories, and I can teach your kids, and I can get with them, and I can make them improve, and I can do these wonderful things. But then when you tell me, Barry, I want you to go do this and do that, I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I go the other direction because I'm introverted into this loner. And so I'm trying to be open and honest about who I am. And so it's gonna take a little time, but
Sure.
I'm trying.
And it's much appreciated. And you know what is also so important about it is the young kids and the young athletes that look up to you that might feel the same as you. We got kids watching now that probably really speaks to and resonates for. So I appreciate you being open with us about that.
It's just unfortunate. I played I had a job and a career that millions of people were watching.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to respond to it. I felt that, okay, I'm not good at talking, so that's out of the game. So I'm gonna show them on the field, because that's the one thing I could do.
Yeah.
So I thought just being quiet was because I wasn't talented at talking about anything. I'm gonna just gain your respect and love by just performing it.
And let your work speak for itself on the field.
And that's what I did.
And that's totally okay.
Yeah, but it backfired on me a little bit, Miss
Well,
Renel. So I was like, hey.
You know what? That's life. Stuff happens.
That's it.
And as we always say, baseball is a metaphor for life, and you learn through baseball to fight through adversity.
Right.
Because baseball is basically, I love how it's a game of failures, just like life is.
Right.
And you could have a bad day at the plate one day, and the next day you got to shake that sucker off. You're
Yes,
playing
she did.
162 games a year. So, and me working in baseball these last 19 years has taught me, you know, how to approach my life in a different way. Because
Right.
it really is a metaphor for life.
Right.
You're always going to get knocked down. But the important thing is, you know, do you have the character to come back
Right.
and battle back the next day?
Right.
And you've shown that throughout your career.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks.
Let's go to Pittsburgh drafting you. Let's go to the Pirates. Let's talk about that. You're drafted 6th overall in 1985, and you made your MLB debut May 30th, 1986. What do you remember about that day? Anything? Were you
for
present?
5. I think I struck out 3 times.
We were just talking about that, right? You got to bounce right back from that.
Yes, and I went into the clubhouse. I didn't make a big stink of it. I went down the hallway and I cried like a little baby.
Did you really?
I called my dad up and I said, I'm not ready.
Oh, man.
And he goes, what do you mean? I said, I'm not ready. And he said, did the ball change in size? I said, no. He said, did the pitch seem any faster than it was before you came here? He said, no. He says, then what are you not ready about? And I sat there and thought about that for a minute. I said, maybe it just could have been a bad day. But I said, Dad, it's just like, my knees were going like this, but I'm the only one who felt them. No one saw them but me, and I felt like and I couldn't stop shaking in my hands, and I was like, everything I ever worked for is what I wanted.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I couldn't stop doing this inside. I'm
Yeah.
going, what the hell is going on? You've done this 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And then the second day, I went 3 for 4,
See?
and I got over it quick.
This is what we're saying, right? It's exactly what I'm talking about. 1993, you leave Pittsburgh, you come home, finally. Larry Bear, Peter McGowan call you and say it's time for you to come and wear the orange and black like your dad and your godfather, and your dad's gonna be your hitting coach, Dusty's gonna be your manager. Tell me about that.
That was the
moment in
greatest day of
time.
my life.
Really?
Because the Yankees was in it, and the other teams were in it too. And when the Giants came, there was just a no-brainer. I mean, to have the second chance to go back home, I mean, I had the first chance in high school. Didn't think it was gonna happen. I probably would have ended up going to New York at the time. And they came, there was just a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, they could have just said anything at that time. I was going home. That's where I always wanted to be.
Sure.
That's where my dream of life was supposed to be, and nothing was gonna stop that. By the time they said, would you like to come home? I was already like, y'all ain't sent me a first-class ticket already? You have to ask me that question twice.
Did you feel like the timing was right? Do you feel like everything up until that point led you to this moment and that the timing was right for you to come home at that point?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because my IQ was here. I already went to and got my master's degree. So I went through the training of school and through Pittsburgh. So to me, I'm the Harvard professor in my sport. And I went through the classes of courses. And by the time I was in San Francisco, I was already the instructor.
Yeah.
And I remember Peter McGowan says, how good are you? I said, Peter, if I fail you, I'll give you $1 million back to whatever charity you want. That's how confident I was and how happy I was to go home.
Man. And then from there, it was just skyrocketing. I mean, you were so good you would break your own records. You know you're bad if you break your own records, in addition to some MLB records. But let's go to 1996, which was your 40-40 season. You're the first National League player to do that. And then in the following year, you tied your dad for the most 30-30 seasons. What was that like? How did you and your dad share that moment in history together? What'd your dad say?
Well, my dad was really happy. I mean, when my dad and I finally got together, because my dad and I relationship wasn't as close at the time until I came home.
Okay.
And when I came home, well, even when I was in college, it was building even better, because my dad was my instructor, and my dad was a genius to hitting. You know, partied and did his own thing, but when it came to it, he had the vision. Everything that my father did was important to me to do. Everything that my godfather did was important for me to do. And it wasn't important for me to do it in a sense of that I need just to try, to just, because I knew I had it. I knew I had the vision. I knew I had the talent. Just him to say I was a good baseball player. You know, like, my godfather was everything to me. Like, for him to sit there and say, just godson, being the, you know, center fielder, greatest baseball player I've seen in my lifetime, like, just to say, you know what, kid, you did okay. You were good. Because when I was little, Willie would throw the balls in the infield and I couldn't reach. You know, I was like 5, 6 years old running and trying to throw the ball. And he's like, how you gonna be good if you can't reach second base? And I'm like, so my whole mindset was like, I just want you to love me and I want you to like me. And I want you to think that I'm great, you know? And so, you know, people think that I had pressures from Miller, but no, the pressure for me was just their acceptance from my father and Willie.
I remember you saying that at the plaque dedication, how as you always just wanted the approval of your dad and your godfather as a baseball player.
That's it. Nothing else ever mattered.
And you got that.
I got that. I knew I had, the fans were my fans. That was my family. I grew up in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So entertaining them my pressure was to keep the family tradition alive. Keep the thrill for the family.
The family business. Yep.
But the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I took pride in that. I took pride when Joe Montana and the 49ers win. I take pride now that the Warriors are winning.
Yeah.
I took pride in the Bay Area because I grew up in a great loving community.
Yeah.
It wasn't the fact of anything else. And I didn't want anyone to walk in our house with my family and disrespect us. You done lost your mind.
I know that. I know that was not going to happen.
No, I'm like, we can't do this. We got to keep going. But, you know, hey, I did the best I could.
One of the things we as fans love is the fact that you always had a flair for the dramatic. A lot of your milestone home runs were, you know, set on the big stage, including number 71 that season. And did you know when you hit it? When you would hit home runs, could you feel it instantly when you made that connection, or you're like, it's gone, right?
Renel, my IQ is so high as I planned every home run at home. Every record home run is at home.
I know.
The only one that's not at home is 762, the last one.
Yeah.
The 500's at home, 600's at home, 660's
Yeah.
at home, 61's at home. So, because these are my people. My
Entertainer.
people. If you want to come see our house, you fly in, buy a ticket, come to our house, watch it, or you can see it on TV. But I did everything at home because
you did.
That's the love, Renel.
Let's talk about 2003, another remarkable home run you hit, the game after you had laid your dad to rest. Can you even tell me the emotion of that moment? Were you even present? Was it kind of out of body? I mean, what kind of emotion?
Probably like that, yeah. Kind of like a whole bunch of all of that all up in one.
Yeah.
I ended up in the hospital after that, too. I had like an irregular heartbeat at that time. I
You
ended
were
up in the
stressed
hospital.
out and you didn't pay attention to it. Listen to me just scolding you.
You know, it's weird because I was with my dad every day during this cancer. And I slept by him, bathed him, cleaned him up. I did the whole process, you know, spent time and got a lot of things out me and my dad sat and talked about. And then all of a sudden at the game, and then when my dad passed away, and that all happened, I couldn't understand why I had that same lost feeling. You know what I mean? Because I think my dad and I shared everything at the time. I think the things that I didn't like about my dad, we got out. The things that my dad said he was sorry for all the things that went down, we got out. And I was so grateful for that, you know, that we could put a lot of things to rest.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
You really had closure.
Yeah, because I sat down on my dad's floor and I was like, Dad, you were, he's like, I know, but you became something out of it, so it wasn't all that bad.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And, you know, my dad said, I'm sorry, there was things, in, you know, we're all different people. We all come from different things, but I couldn't understand why I had that same lost feeling. And I think my career went like this, and it stayed right here. As soon as my dad was gone, it started to go like this. Because the things that my dad would call me on the phone and say, you're doing this, I didn't have that phone call anymore.
Oh my God,
Do you see what I'm saying?
I got it.
I don't have that call anymore.
I got it. I was the same way. I got it.
And so I was just hanging on.
Yeah.
You know, just hanging on. And, you know, when my dad passed away after 2003, 2004, I played really well. 2005, I got hurt.
Yeah.
2006 came, I was hanging on. 2007, I wanted to play 2008 and end it.
Yeah.
Didn't have the chance, but it was just slowly doing this because I didn't have I was alone. So people don't understand. I was never alone in my career.
Of course.
I
Right.
always had my dad.
Right. I got you.
And you don't leave your wingman.
No.
I don't care what it is. And I didn't leave my dad. No matter how our differences were,
Yeah.
no matter how we fought or battled things, I didn't leave my dad because my dad was a genius.
Yeah.
And so when my dad left, I was like, maybe I'm not as smart as I thought I was. You know, all those little,
Self-doubt.
yeah.
I get it.
And so that's,
man.
that happened to me. And
Man, yeah, I totally understand that. You are back in the organization as a
Yes.
special advisor. I know you spent some time in spring training, and what kind of other things are you doing?
It's funny because all my friends go, what do you do? I said, I listen now. I didn't listen before. I didn't have to. I said, that's your office, it's my office.
Right.
I am the boss, but now I have a boss.
Yes, you
I said, it's
do.
weird saying I do have a boss now, and I had one my whole career. But I always get with the coaches so that we're always on the same page because, you know, you really don't want to teeter line that line because that's their job, that's their profession. You really don't want to do that. So
Yeah.
I really make it clear that, you know, if I'm going to do something, I work with the hitting coach and I sit there and say, okay, this is what I see. What do you see? And then we both process it. And then he goes and he'll tell him, or sometimes I'll sit down there and I'll say, if you just tweak this, you might get a little bit better if you just do this. But it's things that we've already talked about. I'm only here to help. If you have people with our kind of IQ, why wouldn't you want them there to help?
Yeah.
I mean, if I could go sit in Bill Gates' office if I had that kind of intelligence, believe me, he would have a hard time getting rid of me. You know, and that's like my godfather. I stuck to my godfather.
Right.
He was the best. Why aren't you, you know, I only have this for so long. And I try to explain to these guys, eventually I'm not going to be able to see. And there's gonna be a time I'm not gonna be here. You better absorb all you can. If it doesn't work, it doesn't hurt you, it's free.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you, just grab it.
Yes.
If there's something you think, if it doesn't work, throw it in the garbage.
That's right.
You know, do you know how many darts me and my dad threw that I threw in the garbage because it didn't work? But eventually something's gonna stick or something's gonna click. But the guys here, they utilize it, you know? They do.
Well, again, I can't thank you enough. This has been an amazing conversation, and I'm so grateful to you. And just thank you for joining me. I know the fans are going to appreciate this. And thanks to Silver Oak for having us.
Love you, Renel.
I love you more.
There you go. Cheers.
Cheers
Little
to you.
sippy sip.
Little sippy sip.